Mindfulness of what is up to us and what is not is one of the main remedies for emotional suffering. Stoicism and the Art of Happiness by Robertson. And I adopted many powerful principles over the last couple of years that increased my baseline happiness, but one of the biggest ones comes from the Stoics, and that's the idea of being indifferent to things that are not in our direct control. I mean, take the weather, death, traffic, other people, the outcome of soccer games, international politics, the coronavirus, all of these things that are not in our control. By focusing on what's in our control, we can save so much anger, anxiety, frustration that can be avoided by just committing fully to this principle. And oh, what a great source of fulfillment and tranquility it is. Today I wanted to share some of my takeaways from this book, and it's a great book. It summarizes a lot of Stoic ideas. It goes through all the main philosophers and all the main Stoics. It also has practical exercises that you can do. Mindfulness of what is up to us and what is not is one of the main remedies for emotional suffering. This goes back to what I talked about in the beginning. Let's focus our energy on what's in our direct control and try to ignore things that are out of our control to as large extent as possible. Set your intention each morning and evaluate how you did each evening. Where did you act virtuously and where did you miss the mark? Review your actions and evaluate your conduct. And by reviewing our intentions every day, we can make sure we hit the mark more often. Quote, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take on them." This is a quote from Epictetus, and what it talks about here is that it's not the thing itself that disturbs us, but our judgment of it, and that's food for thought. Novice Stoics should begin by training themselves each day to endure what they irrationally fear and find adversive with courage and perseverance. They should renounce and abstain from what they irrationally crave through discretion and self-discipline. Here's a great note about outcome independence as well. The goal of the sage, that's the Stoic ideal, would not be to benefit others, which is beyond his control, right? But rather to simply do his best to benefit them. It's just like an archer firing an arrow. His work is done when he has done his best. Once the arrow is on its way, it's no longer within his control. So the best thing you can do is go in with good intentions, but you can never be responsible for the result. This is a great book, even excellent if you ignore some of the textbook style repetitive nature of it, and it provides a great overview of Stoicism. It's also full of exercises on how to apply the philosophy in everyday life, which I'm always a strong proponent for. But I still think that this one, A Guide to the Good Life by Irvine, is the best starting point for the person who is curious and new to Stoicism. If you don't want to jump into the original sources, of course, like Meditations, On the Shortness of Life by Seneca, all of those, which are actually very accessible, even though they're like 2,000 years old. They read like they're written yesterday, and they're still very applicable. Anyway, that's enough about me, and yeah, read about Stoicism.